Father, what an honor to be here today, Lord, to see your manifestation of transformation in your daughter. And we give you praise and we welcome you into our conversation because this is all about you, Father. This is about you pouring new life into your daughter. You know, Corinthians 5:17 says that when we're in Christ, we're a new creation. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. So we bring you praise, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Well, Faith, thank you for coming today. We've wanted to do this for a very long time.
Yes.
And Sean was our number uno, that he was our first one that was able. But I want the audience to know that you are the one that inspired him to want to change.
Right.
So he's the first fruits of college, but you're the first fruits of change that we have seen here. And, you know, I can look back, my gosh, what year was that when you were living across from Mom? Because she's been going on 4 years now.
Right. I think it was like, it had to be like 2019.
Think?
Yeah.
About 19. Was Jerry already gone? No, Mom was still there.
Yeah.
Jerry was still alive. Jerry passed in 2017. So maybe.
Was it sooner than that?
I think possibly. I don't know. How old was your little guy?
He was like.
The baby.
Oh, wow. So yeah, like 2017,
16. Probably 16.
Yeah.
Because Jerry passed. She was still
James
there.
Was born in 2016. So he was like,
okay.
He was like a year and a half.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Because Jerry passed in 2017, and that's the day my mom had a stroke.
Right.
So she had to go to the hospital. But prior to that, I think within that year, you had heard her.
Yeah.
You had heard her crying out.
Yeah, I was outside and sitting out on my front porch, and all of a sudden I hear, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." And I'm sitting here like, wow, that's crazy that the commercial's on repeat.
That's a long commercial.
Why is it not stopping? And then I listened closer, and then I walked over because it's the same driveway. Mm-hmm. So I just walked across the driveway, and I found her and picked her up, and then she had me call you. And
thank you so much for doing that for her. Yeah. And you picked her up just the right way because she had a broken hip.
Yeah.
And the EMS said whoever picked her up did a really good job at it. So thank you for that. Yeah. And then I got to know you more, I think. And then I started bringing you cakes.
Yeah. Lots of cakes. It was delicious.
I've given you cakes and just thank you again for helping my mom out. And then all of a sudden you showed up here during one of our feeding days, and I was like, great, I know her. And then unfortunately you got caught up into the drug life.
Yeah. Well, when I started showing up here, I had been a part of a really bad domestic violence situation. And so I tried to go to like Safe House and went to that for the 90 days that it is, and then ended up coming back. I ended up signing guardianship over of my kids because I wasn't going to be homeless in the streets of Albuquerque with my children. Their normal, happy, stable is the only thing that's mattered throughout this whole thing. Amen. Whether or not it was with me, or my wants and my needs of my children being around me will never over trump their normal, happy, stable.
Wow.
So,
that was selfless. And you got to place them into the arms of people that really could care for them.
Right. And I handed my children over, signed it over guardianship, and I told them, don't hand them back to me until you walk into my front door. Because I'm not, the streets of Albuquerque are hard. They don't deserve that, nor do I ever want them to go through that.
So you really got caught up.
Yeah.
Your drug of choice was?
Meth.
Methamphetamine.
Yeah, and I was shooting up meth at the end. I mean, at the beginning, it was just smoking, and then it wasn't doing anything for me. So then the next choice was to shoot up. And that was not the best of choices that I could possibly choose.
Were you trying to cover pain? What was going on that made you feel like you had to go and stay that and then keep escalating to the shot now?
I think it had a lot to do with covering up pain. I think, when you're out, I made the choice to be out here by myself. I made that choice, and I'm thankful that I did make that choice because of how it is now. But it was being by myself. It's almost like a survivor technique because you have to stay awake on the streets. You have to keep going and going and going, or because you can fall asleep and something can happen to you, or you can fall asleep and all your stuff be stolen, or it's
Wow.
Yeah.
And beautiful woman like you out here with a lot of predators.
Yeah, and that's you have to stay awake because if you fall asleep around the wrong individuals, you never know what's going to happen to you, and it can be very bad very fast.
What was the scariest thing that happened to you?
The scariest thing that happened to me is me believing that in a situation where it was a different individual, that his brother had ended up being killed, and the individuals I was around said that it was a certain individual, and I was like, oh, I know him, I know him really well, that's my buddy, here, I'll go return the stuff, which was a gun and a necklace with his mom's ashes in it. And I was like, well, at least I can give those back, give my condolences. And then, so when I went up to the door, it wasn't the person who I thought it was. It was someone completely different. And me trying to explain that to him, he thought I had something to do with it, which ended up with...
So he's paranoid.
Yeah. Well, you thought I had something to do with why do you have my brother's belongings, but you don't have anything to do with how he ended up being killed? So he thought that, and then it's still very hazy to me.
Yeah.
I have a recollection of 3 days of it, but it was a situation where I ended up being held hostage and tortured and shot 5 times.
Oh my God.
And yeah, just wrong place, wrong person, wrong time.
What were you thinking when you were in that situation? Were you thinking, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, what am I doing here? There was a point where he was holding a gun to my head and me begging, please don't kill me, please. I just want to see my kids grow up. I don't even want to be in this life. I don't, please, and
how far in between the day that you made that choice, how far in between that time to the time on that recliner? Because I've heard your story that you said, hey, how long were you out there?
So I got shot February 2022. Yeah. 2021. I'm sorry. 2021. And I was out in the streets until March 2022.
So maybe a year?
Yeah.
So a year. And what was going on that morning when you just said, hey, I'm done?
Well, a month or so, March. So 3 months prior to that, December 24th, I had a friend, David. He had dropped me off somewhere, and it was Christmas Eve. It's cold outside, and he has all my stuff in his car when you dropped me off. And so I went to go look for him that Christmas Eve morning, and it was I probably left where he dropped me off at 4 in the morning, and then I was walking around trying to look for him, and then at 5:36 I finally find him, and he's like, Faith, it's cold, get in. I was like, okay. So I hopped in the back seat of the car and I fell asleep because it was freezing outside and I hadn't been to sleep yet. And I woke up to gunshots and him screaming, help me, help me, help me. And I had woken up to him being murdered.
I'm so sorry.
And over those next 3 months, I was going insane. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But I had started hearing voices in my head. They were telling me where to go, and they weren't wrong either. The voices in my head weren't wrong, which was at that point, they were go to I I don't even know whose voice it is, but they were like, mine in this individual's old spot. And I went there, and usually when I went there, I would sit in the third shed and wait for the certain individual to come out. And the voices in my head were like, no, not this one. The first one, there's a mattress covering the hole in the wall to get in.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And so I went, and there's a mattress covering the hole in the wall to get into the apartment. And so I'm sitting here like, man. And like someone walks in, and they're like, who are you? How'd you get in here? I was like, the voices in my head. They told me how to get in. He said, the voices in your head are going to get you killed. Get out of here. I said,
Wow.
okay. And so then I went, and I was walking around. And I like was up on Tramway and Central and walked all the way down to Louisiana to my friend's house. And I knocked on her door at like, I don't know, it was probably like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I had fallen asleep on a recliner and had woken up, and I was like, I'm done.
Good girl.
I'm
Put
done.
a fork in me. I'm done.
I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm literally going insane. And the only thing that I'm doing over and over again is drugs. And the only, like, I'm expecting a different result. It doesn't matter who I'm around. It doesn't matter what group I'm with. It's always the same thing. And so doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, the only common denominator was the drug.
Yeah.
And
So did you go through to treatment, to withdraw, so what happened? I mean, you're withdrawing.
Yeah, I mean, I
detox.
I think I spent, not like here at the shelter, but I spent most of my time here for the first month because I didn't want to go out and about.
So you were still withdrawing when you came here?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you did your detox here?
Yeah, basically, I did my detox here.
And then I remember when you came in, and there was a guy in here, and you said, Pastor, that guy held me hostage.
Yeah. Which that was a whole different situation.
I know, but
there
were so many of them. Yeah, but that was still scary for you.
Yeah, that one held me hostage.
He had to go.
Yeah.
I got rid of him right away because I wanted to focus more on you.
Right. And then I think I was here for about a month, and then I was walking down the street, and I had this epiphany all of a sudden where I was like, if I go home, I can't be homeless. I go home, homeless, can't be.
And where was homeless. Home? Where was the destination?
Gypsum, Colorado.
In Colorado with?
My mom.
With mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how did that go?
Well, I ended up hitchhiking there.
Whoa, who picked you up?
This guy who was already headed to, I think it was like Farmington or right outside of Farmington. I was like, well, then I could just go to Durango, and from Durango, I know people. But that didn't work out that way either.
Was he safe? Were you safe with him?
I didn't even know him.
I know, but he didn't bother you? Mm-mm. You weren't scared of him?
No.
You weren't frightened? You just said, okay, this is what I got to do. I got to ride. I'm going.
Yep.
So you get there.
I get there, and so I get to Durango, and the people that I know aren't living where they used to, and so I just call my mom, and my mom's like, well, your brother lives 2 hours away. I'll just have him come get you. So I wait for him to come get me, and I'm like, cool, so I can just go stay with Jeffrey. That's cool. And it didn't.
New beginnings, right?
And he was
this
like, no,
is gonna work.
Yeah. And he was like, no, I'm gonna drop you off at mom's house. I was like, I don't want you to drop me off at mom's house. I want to go to your house.
Stay with you.
Yeah. So he ended up dropping me off at my mom's house. And it's always been like, since I've moved out of my mom's house when I was 16, like I can literally only stay with her for about 2 months until we start bumping heads. And of course it didn't fail, and it was about 2 months, and then we started bumping heads. I found out she was part of a custody battle going on with my youngest, that I guess their first court date was actually when I was in the hospital for being shot and held hostage and all that. And I had no clue about that. And she had told me, I was like, well, if you guys have court, I want to go. I want to be a part of it. Like, that's my kid.
Right.
And she told me that she felt like I would jeopardize her and my son's father's chance of getting my son if I appeared in the court. And when she told me that, I was like, that's my kid. What are you talking about? I'm going to jeopardize your chances of getting my kid.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so it ended up in this big old fight. My little brother came back and got me. I probably stayed with him for about 3 weeks maybe. And because of the fight with my mom that was going on, me and my little brother ended up getting in a fight, and to the point where the police got called, and the police were like, well, we can take you to St. Francis. St. Francis was like, well, we can get you a bus ticket to Denver, and from Denver you can get a bus ticket back to Albuquerque. Because in my head at this point, I'm like, well, I'm sober. If I can make it on drugs in Albuquerque, I can sure make it being sober in Albuquerque. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. And
you had friends in Albuquerque.
Yeah, and it's not even, you guys aren't friends. You guys are my family.
I
Like,
know. I was gonna say, and family.
Yeah, you guys are my support system. Like, you love me at my worst.
Yep.
You deserve me at my best. And so whatever I can do for you, I will always do for you.
That was awesome. So you end up in Albuquerque.
I ended up in Denver for like 2 weeks because the St. Francis there didn't have any funding until the beginning of the month. So I'm like in Denver with no contact, no phone, no money. But their homeless system that they have in Denver is super impressive.
Really?
Super impressive. They have food cards for everyone that they can at least go in somewhere and get a meal. Like, it's like, wow, Denver really, I don't know.
Wow, they rock.
They do.
Rock.
They do. They're impressive. So by the second, I was 2 weeks in Denver, and by the second week I had come back here and gotten my bus ticket, and here was the first place I showed up. Called you at like
Jerry Joe.
Yeah.
You saw Jerry Joe.
Or no, it was a security guard when you still had security, and the security guard was like,
Anthony?
can I help you? Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I just need you to call Pastor because I just came in from Denver.
And I'm really cold.
I'm
tired.
I just want to go to bed. And he ends up calling you, and you're like, yeah, of course, go in.
Yeah, go put her in bed. Get her comfortable.
Yeah. And so I just stayed here, and you helped me out with the job, which ended up helping me out.
That is just so cool. I mean it. Just for the audience that doesn't know this, we're able to hire 8 individuals every day, 3 shifts a day. $25 is all we can give. It's not much, but it's walking around money.
Right.
So I asked Faith, would you like to work? And she said, sure. And I think for the first few times you just volunteered. And then I said, no, wait a minute. I have some funds. I can go ahead and pay you. Yeah. So then you just started, you just came right on in, and you became a part of the staff. And then it just gave you that incentive to say, I think I'm ready to get out there now and really find a full-time position.
Yeah.
So you ended up at
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because I started at McDonald's, in my head it was, well, if I can get a management position with McDonald's, I could and hold it for a little bit, then I could take that manager position and go be a manager anywhere. And like, that's the first time in, I don't know, it might not be the first quote unquote time, but it feels like that's the first time I actually planned something out and it worked.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Awesome.
Like, it worked out perfectly because I ended up taking that management position. And then I went to my bank to go deposit my check, and I was talking to the teller there, and I was like, man, I'm just so overworked and so underpaid, and I'm just so exhausted all the time. And she was like, we're hiring here. I was like, oh yeah? Really? And she was like, yeah, let me get your information down. She took it down, and the branch manager called me like 2 weeks later, and he was like, I hear that you are overwhelmed at your current position and you're looking for something else. And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I have a lead teller position and I think you would be a great fit for it, and this is how you apply, and walked me through the application. And within a month later, or a month and a half later, I ended up being the lead teller at a bank.
Awesome. You said something that this is the first time that you really kind of created this action plan and it really worked for you. Because you were looking, and we tell this to people all the time in recovery and the Rise Up, you tell them when you get sober, you're looking through life you're looking to life through a different lens. It's different. You're starting to make preparations, plans. You're starting to strategize, problem solve, and then follow through with that.
Right.
And then, so you did that. You got into the McDonald's. You stayed sober, right?
Yep.
And at what point did you start saying, hey, I think I'm now ready to start getting custody of my youngest one?
So with that, it was always the goal. That from the get-go, it was the
Right.
goal is to get my youngest back because of my mom telling me that I would jeopardize the situation for her to get my child. And so as like, I think I went even, so the court date that she didn't want me to go while I was in Denver, I appeared over the phone. Like, so I still appeared. And that was at that moment, like, from the moment she said that I was going to jeopardize the situation was the moment really that probably put the fire under my butt.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, okay.
okay.
You want to see jeopardizing?
Yeah. You want to see me? Yeah.
But that was good. Really, it was used. It was used,
Yeah.
to get you going and motivated and refocused on your priorities and what were really, really important to you in your life. And you can now do it because you were drug free.
Right. So I mean, and then I think I was probably about 6 months into getting custody of my youngest to the point where I was like, if I can do it for one, I can definitely do it for both. Like, so I started the paperwork out for my oldest.
Awesome.
And it's now I'm still in the process of getting custody, but I have full access to both children.
That is so beautiful.
And I'm at a point where I'm not trying to take either one of them out of the position that they're in because they love the individuals.
Right.
That
But you're
with.
incorporated into
and that's
that
all I
safe
want to be.
place.
Like both kids are in the driver's seat, and I just want to be in the car. I just want to be along for the ride because I already missed out on so much. And I mean, tomorrow's never promised or guaranteed.
No.
And I just want to be there. I just want to be a part of it.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And you're actually doing it. I mean, I've had you speak to the Rise Up Recovery so many times because people, they keep saying, one day I want to do this. One day I want to do this. But how many of them really do it? See? So you did it. And then your car started messing up on you.
Yeah.
When you started the McDonald's job or the bank? That was the bank job,
It was the bank, yeah.
So you went out and you did what?
I went and bought a brand new 2024 Nissan Versa.
Woo-hoo! Here she comes driving up in a brand new car, working for a bank.
Yeah.
And now everybody's just going, whoa, what just happened here? Well, I'll tell you, miracles on Trumbull Avenue happen here.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful because you opened your heart. And I started seeing a change in you. I started seeing you fall back in love with the Lord in a greater way. I heard your music change. Everything about you just started changing, and everybody was marveling because when you were in your drug life, you'd walk in here and you had the little sassiest little attitude. And I was like, oh God, here she comes. But then there was mornings when you were freezing out there, and we said, come on in. I want you to just sit down, lay on the couch, and get warm. But God, it paid off, Faith. Just, faith, just like the word, it says, it's a substance of things hoped for with the evidence of things not seen. And you have become this great miracle, and glory to you, Jesus, for doing that. It's through the power of the Holy Spirit, and we believe in that here. And there's just so many beautiful things, but you have inspired them. So Sean was like the other one. He went into a full year treatment program, and he's been clean for a whole additional year, living here with me.
Right.
And not going back to the streets. And this was his environment. This was your environment. You've come back. You've attended church here for a little bit. And then you said, okay, and you went out and you got yourself this little apartment, right?
Yeah.
And it was just for women or something?
No, it was just a little studio.
Efficiency. Yeah. So
$600 a month. It was a roof over my head. And
you better believe it. You better believe it. So you just kept advancing and kept going. And so where do you live now?
We actually just moved into a new house that we're in the process of buying.
You're buying a house. Wow.
But yeah.
2-story mansion.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You showed us. I saw pictures. I think
it's like a 7-bedroom.
Yeah.
5-bath.
Beverly Hillbilly type.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a blessing. Like it's
Beautiful. And your son lives there with you, right?
I have full access to
Beautiful.
him. I get to see him every day. I get to help him get ready for school every day. I get to help make dinner for him every night. Like I just get to be a part of his life.
And he's such a beautiful child. Such a happy little bundle of joy, huh?
Yeah.
And he just turned 9 or 10?
Yeah, he just turned 9 on
9.
Monday.
Wow.
So I got to be there for the first birthday that I
Beautiful.
haven't been able to in the last 7 years, because it's been the like 3-ish years on, or 3-4 years on drugs, and then me being sober, so 7.
Wow. It's so beautiful. New beginnings, you know, and 1 Corinthians 5:17, I think I was sharing that with you. When you're in Christ Jesus, you're a new creation, and you have just really showed that that is the truth. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new.
Right.
And that's exactly what has happened to you, Faith. And what are your future dreams? How do you see yourself in the next, 2 to 3 years up the road? What do you want to see happen in your life?
I'm not even like that. So
you're happy where you're at?
I am happy where I'm.
And you just
very
want
happy
things to advance in your relationship with your kids to continue to grow.
Like James turned 9 on Monday, so now it's like I only have 9 more years until he's full grown. And
that happens
real quick,
fast.
And then my oldest, he turns 13 this year, so I think for the next, like I did all my goals. I got the car, I got the house, I got back into my children's life, and now until I don't even like until I just maintain. I don't even know what my goal is.
Just maintain.
I just want to enjoy them. I just want to be a part of their life. I just want to see how they grow. I'm so interested in what's about like the next steps for them.
Yeah,
like,
they're so beautiful.
As long as I can stay stable.
Right. And it's maintaining that.
Yeah.
You don't ever see yourself flying backwards, right?
No. 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 And it's like
if recovery even tries, you just smack it and say, get away from me.
No, it's like there's times where, I'll stop by an old friend's house that's here in the hood, or just to say hi and like check in on them and make sure they're still alive or something. And then it's like I only have to spend about like 20 minutes. I'm like, man, I'm so glad I'm not even in this life anymore. I'm gonna go home. Right. I don't have to deal with any of this.
Well, let me give you a good example. So a week ago or so, you had a situation at the bank job, and it could have really thrown you back.
Right.
But instead of going back to that, what happened?
So I ended up getting a new branch manager, different from the one that hired me. And it's just been hectic since she walked in acting like the branch was on fire when we've been running it for the last 3 months, getting recognition back and forth. And like, I know what I'm doing with my job. I fully understand it, but it's like she had issues with my old branch manager. It was almost like retaliation to the point where, I wasn't comfortable at work anymore. And she cost me my yearly raise by going back and changing out my review. She told us that our benefit, or that we couldn't take vacation unless we were meeting numbers, which was weird because that's part of our benefit package. And it was just all this different stuff. But it got to a point where I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to do this. And no one's going to make me go through anything or make me feel any type which way, because I've already been almost to hell and back. Like I've been there, I've done that. I'm never going through that situation any which way to where someone has me even thinking about reverting to old ideas. So
never even came in your mind.
A little bit. It was like we took the same path home but we took the same path home, and I was like, man, I just need to follow her home, and I don't need to do anything. I just need to find out where she lives. And then the angel on this side was like, no, don't do it. You've come too far. And so I just kept driving home. But, at first, like, I was upset because I'm like, man, she has me fighting with my demons, and I don't even like that. But then when I was telling someone else this situation, she was like, at least you hear the other side, though.
And you followed it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that don't hear that, and they will just do that reaction that the little demon
or
part
worse,
is saying,
or go back and
worse.
say, I really need to go smoke right now.
Right.
I need, I take the edge off, and I should reward myself with that. But you're saying, no way, that didn't even enter into your mind.
No, it was don't do it. You've come
and your
too
old
far.
nature was coming up and rising up, and you're like, down, go down.
So it was like, and I like when my friend told me that, she was like, at least you hear that other side. At least at least there is that other side. A lot of people don't even have that. And I was like, I didn't even think about that, but that's a very valid point. Like,
well, Jesus says it in John 10. He says, my sheep know my voice and they follow it. See, so you heard the other voice and said, you're sabotaging me.
Right.
I'm not going to go to that old nature again. And you said, I'm going to follow what the Lord is telling me to do. And you did it. So that's awesome.
I mean, it probably wasn't the best way to quit a job, but I ended up walking out. But it was okay, because the next day I moped around, and then the day after that I took all my certificates to the McDonald's down the street and walked out with a job and started working the next day
for $3 an hour more.
Yeah. Yeah, which was literally
and closer to home.
Yeah, $3
so that's really like probably about $5 more, because then now you're going to save on all that gas.
Yeah,
and coming back, you're going to save on time that you can have with your child.
Yeah.
Instead of that traveling, because when I lived in Bernalillo, sometimes I had to come here twice in a day.
It's a lot.
And it's a lot, going back and forth. Yeah, but when I started to live in the church, because it's a big building, and I just opened the door and I was here. And I loved it. I don't have to just go back and forth, I-25. Yeah, so
it is
great.
It's more time with my kids, and it's more, it's not more money, but I'm never going to allow anyone to ever make my thought process any other way than what path I'm on.
Good. You were tried for a minute.
Yeah.
You passed that trial. In Job 23:10, it says, when he has tried me, I shall come forth as pure gold. And you did it. And I think all that other junk, sometimes we think, oh my God, look what I did. I'm ashamed of what I did back there. But you got to embrace it. You got to say, that made me tougher. I use my testimony all the time. I was in this life, you guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not anymore. That's not me anymore. I'm a new creation in Christ Jesus. You can be too if you want to. Right. So as all that toughness that made you tougher than you already were, now that you're clean and sober, when situations come to you, you're doing it with God's strength, with wisdom, and you're doing it the right way. And that's why you're going to continue to advance and do so much good in this world, Faith. Yeah. We're so proud of you. What would you say to somebody that's out there maybe considering listening to this interview with Rise Up? What would you say to them? What would be their benefits if they would just be willing to let that drug down and walk the path of sobriety?
It's worth it. At the end of the day, it's worth it. Is it hard to recover? Yeah. Is it a fight every day? Yeah. But is it worth it not to have those chains on you anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. If I can do it, anyone can do it, because I was awful. It was awful. And it's like, the situations I went through, I may not have caused, but I chose to go through those situations. Like, I don't know. But I'm thankful to go through the situations that I went through, because I wouldn't be where I am at today, and I wouldn't be as strong as I'm at, and my faith wouldn't be as strong as it is. Like, I'm from the whole fight of being sober, like, it's taught me not to stress. There's no reason to even stress about a situation. There's no reason to even cry about a situation. There's no reason to even get upset about the situation, because at the end, God's got you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not going to let you fall, and he's not going to let you down. Like, he's going to catch you. Like, it's going to happen. And there's no doubt in my mind. Like, with my first custody battle, I stressed out a lot. I was always crying. I was always stressed out. But then how it played out, I was like, man, God's got me. Like,
I wasted a lot of time being stressed out.
Yeah, I'm stressed out way too much. Like, and so like with my second situation, or with my second custody, like I walked into that courthouse and I wasn't even stressed out because God just proved to me with my second one, like he's got me. And then that one worked out beautifully. And now me and my son's dad and his wife, we're all like really good friends, and we have dinner every Sunday night, and we're getting along, and it is for the best interest of my child, and my kids get to see each other, and like it worked out. It might not be like me having full custody of my kids or like all these craziness thoughts that I could possibly have, but it's I get to be a part of their life.
But you're content.
Yeah, I'm content.
And you're grateful.
I'm very
grateful where you're at. And I think this has turned out so much better than you even could have imagined.
It really has.
And your ex-husband and his wife, like you said, you know, you're all friends now. I know in the beginning you felt like some pressure coming on you. They wanted this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
You know, but you said, I'll do it. If this is what you want. Maybe you felt like you owed it to them because you had opened yourself up, you know, to be away. Maybe you said, hey, and maybe by them watching you go through that and say, wow, she really has changed, and let's give her a chance.
Yeah.
So that is so awesome.
It really
all
is.
that has worked out for you.
It's beyond a blessing. Like it's more than I can even ask for. Like just to even have that peace in my life now, and knowing that everyone's not at everyone's neck because of my life choices, and like
that's beautiful.
Weight lifted off my shoulders for sure.
Yeah,
and I can only thank God for it, like because he
maybe you can encourage heaven that's going through a lot right now, because she's going through stuff, you know, and so God is going to use what you went through to encourage another woman that maybe is going through maybe something similar to what you're going through. I think we can always use our stuff, even as negative as we're not, like I said, we're not proud of it, but we could still use it to maybe build up another human being.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, if I can, like, it gives me like butterflies when you say encourage everyone, or you know, I'm like, oh, because like I'm not. I'm just trying to do better than I did yesterday.
There you go.
At the end of the day, like that's my goal. Any days. Well, am I doing better than I was yesterday? Yeah, cool. It's my only goal. And
there you go. And congratulate yourself for as far as you have come. And you're still wanting to be that better person, mom, you know, friend, you know. So I know the Compassion Center, it's filled with people that really care about you and love you and have cheered you on, you know. So every time that you do better and you stay on your road to sobriety and you're maintaining and you're just doing greater things, you know, it really encourages another one to keep going.
Right.
I mean, I could see it in Sean. He has to build up that typing, you know. He went from so many words and now he's doubled it, you know, and because in his mind, he's saying, I've got to do it for Faith too. I want her to see how well I'm doing in my life too. And it's just going on to more and more and more. You know, we've had Rachel and Dakota here, and they're just so adorable. And she's like, I love school. This is working so great for me. And, you know, just like, again, looking through life with that different lens, because that meth isn't calling them, that fentanyl isn't calling him. And they're wanting, again, like you, to progress. You know, and they finally came in out of the streets into the Compassion Center, and they really are loving it. And next, they're going to get their own apartment. And that's how it's moving for so many of them that are going, is we are seeing so much, you know, progression. You know, it's not about perfection. It's about progression. That's right.
Yeah. He's not looking for perfection. He's looking for
progression. And the NA is always, you know, they use that too. And we use that in our group. Tomorrow's Friday, huh? We're going to have Paula. Oh, yeah, that's another good one. Oh, my gosh, another transformation. So we'll be bringing out Paula, and you guys will be able to see her and hear her wonderful story. I mean, she was living in a drug-infested house, in the back of that house in a shed, frozen. She'd freeze, they started coming here. Her son brought her here, and they fell in love with the cakes and all the hot food we served. And then he unfortunately got killed, and that threw her for a loop.
Right.
So she has been able to finally come forward and move forward, and she's got an amazing story.
She really does.
So I'll be interviewing her tomorrow. So God, so many miracles. So anybody can do it. We just want you guys to know that. So thank you so much for doing this for us and telling your beautiful story.
Thank you.
And till we meet again, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, Faith.
You're welcome.
Don't forget your place.
I will not.
So what are you going to do the rest of the day?
Family photos, I think.
Oh, fun. With both boys?
Not both boys, just one.
Okay.
And Jamie's family, but
Nice.
Still my
Jamie,
family.
how's she doing?
she's good. She's
Tell her hi for me.
I will.
Tell her I miss all of those massages.
I will. She's doing good. She hasn't really been doing many massages. She's just she's the cafeteria lady at the kids' school.
Is she for real?
Yeah. Because she
How
doesn't trust
cute.
public schools. So she's like, I have to be there all the time.
That's cute.
Well, they're not really in public school. They're like in private school.
Do you want me to help you? You got it?
No. I don't.
Okay, that's Faith. It's okay. Is that comfy?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it go?
Yeah. Sweet.
Oh, looks good with your watch. I like it.
Cool. Thank you, Pastor.
You're very welcome.